I first planned to ask the police for a few police dogs, but then I changed my mind. I still wanted to use a dog to find the old black cat, because the cat's smell was very strong and dogs could follow it. But now, I wanted a better dog. So I said to Jamie, "You don't need to help. When I have results, I'll tell you." Jamie told me where the dead dog had been found, and I left the police station. I already knew where I wanted to go. I decided to visit a friend who loved dogs and ask him to lend me one. That friend had inherited a lot of money and lived a very easy life. His only hobby was raising dogs. His clothes were old and torn, making him look like a homeless man, but the dogs he owned were all world-famous and extremely expensive. I wasn't very close to Mr. Chen. We had only met a few times, but I believed he would lend me a great dog, because someone who loves dogs is always happy when a visitor comes for the dogs.
I drove for a little over 10 minutes and stopped in front of his big house. There was a huge garden, and even before I parked, I heard dogs barking loudly inside. I thought to myself, anyone who can live in a place with non-stop barking must not have completely normal nerves. I rang the doorbell. 4 or 5 large wolfhounds rushed at the iron gate, barking wildly and standing on their back legs. I rang for about 2 minutes. I knew he lived alone because no servant wanted to work there, no matter the salary. So I waited patiently. After a few minutes, he finally came out. More than 10 dogs of different sizes ran around him, barking and jumping. He saw me, and I said, "You didn't expect me, right? I came to see your dogs." When he heard that I came only for the dogs, he became very happy. He shouted at the dogs, and although they kept circling him, they stopped barking. The wolfhounds near the gate also backed away.
He opened the gate and let me in. Some small dogs came close and sniffed my feet. A big wolfhound suddenly jumped up and put its front paws on my shoulders. "Hey, tell your pet not to be so friendly," I shouted. He laughed and pushed the dog away. We walked into the house, and many more dogs followed. There were at least 30 to 50 dogs around us. I sat on an old sofa and said, "Chen, I want to borrow a dog from you, the fiercest one you have." He looked surprised, then laughed. "What happened? Did a neighbor's dog bully you and now you want revenge?" I shook my head. "No. A cat bullied me." Chen stared at me, then burst out laughing. "You must be joking." I said seriously, "No, this cat killed a Great Dane police dog. That Great Dane, standing on its back legs, was taller than me." Before I finished, Chen suddenly shouted, "Old Tang? You mean Old Tang?" I said, "Yes. You know that dog?" I asked. Chen walked around nervously. "That dog was a gift from me to the police. How could it be killed by a cat? Impossible! It was brave enough to fight a lion. I sighed. Brave or not, it still died under the claws of a cat. I told him the whole story. Since the dead dog had once been his, he would know which dog could fight the black cat. After I finished, I said, "So I'm here to borrow a dog that can deal with that cat." Chen thought for a moment. Then he said, "From what you said, only old Boo can do it." All of his dogs had names starting with old. I didn't know what kind of dog old Boo was, but since Chen said so, old Boo must be his strongest fighter. That meant old Boo was probably the best fighting dog in all of Asia. I looked at the dogs in the room. Which one is old Boo? Chen laughed. Old Boo isn't inside. Old Boo is different. Follow me. We walked out into the garden. More dogs ran toward us, barking loudly. I saw several huge and scary-looking dogs, and I thought old Boo must be one of them. But Chen kept walking. We passed a row of old boxwood shrubs. A strange thing happened. Many dogs that were following us suddenly turned around and ran away. Only 3 or 4 very fierce dogs stayed near the shrubs, but even they didn't dare follow us past that point. I found this very strange. We walked about 10 more yards. I still didn't see any special dog. Then Chen pointed at a small mound of dirt and said, "There, old Boo is resting." I looked where he pointed and froze. He was pointing at the mound itself. At first I thought it really was a mound, but then the mound moved. Only then did I realize it was a dog. This dog looked completely different from all the others. It didn't wag its tail. It only stood up slowly. Then I understood it had no tail at all. Its body looked nearly hairless, covered in brown, rough, folded skin. Its body was short and thick, and its legs were the same. Its head was huge, covered in layers of wrinkles. It let out a low growl. It was so ugly that it was almost frightening. "What is that thing?" I blurted out. Chen reacted angrily. "That thing? That's old Boo, the most beautiful dog in the world, the bravest dog in the world. It can defeat a wild bull. There are fewer than 10 purebred dogs of this kind in the world." Right, I said quickly. "But it looks—" I didn't finish. Old Boo slowly walked toward us. I wanted to touch its wrinkled head, but Chen grabbed my hand. "Don't touch it! It has a bad temper!" I understood immediately and pulled my hand back. Chen opened a wooden box and took out a huge cow leg bone. He squatted down and held it to old Boo's mouth. "Old Boo, show your guest your bite!" Old Boo growled, then suddenly bit down.
There was a loud cracking sound. The thick cow bone shattered like an eggshell. I took a deep breath. All right, I believe this dog is strong enough. But if its temper is so bad, how can I take it out with me? That's easy, Chen said. First, I will tell it to obey you. Second, you must treat it like a friend. Old Boo has a special personality. It hates being ordered around. It is calm even when it meets a strong enemy. It is a true master. The way he described it almost made me laugh, but I held it in.
Chen asked me to squat down. Old Boo lifted its nose and smelled me, but didn't get closer. Then Chen put my hand on Old Boo's head. Its short, stiff hair felt like steel needles. Old Boo lay down, and I petted it twice. You should say something, Chen said. I rubbed Old Boo gently and said, Old Boo, you are amazing. I've never seen a dog like you. Your bite is incredible. I didn't know if Old Boo understood, but it seemed happy. Chen said dogs can smell a person's feelings, fear, happiness, dislike, or sincerity. So Old Boo knew my praise was real. Whether that was true or not, Old Boo did become friendlier. Chen patted its head again. Old Boo, he needs your help against a dangerous enemy. Do your best. Old Boo growled quietly. All right, Chen said. You can take it. Old Boo had no collar. Its neck was too thick and short anyway. I didn't know how to lead it. Chen laughed. Old Boo doesn't need a leash. Wherever you go, it will follow you. But remember, don't let anyone touch its body, especially its head.
I took the warning seriously. We walked out, and Old Boo followed us, still looking slow and clumsy. But when we passed the boxwood shrubs again, all the other dogs suddenly became silent. They crouched on the ground and stared at Old Boo like it was a deadly enemy. Old Boo didn't care at all. It just walked quietly behind us. Chen said, when Old Boo first came, a wolfhound tried to bully it. Old Boo didn't move at first, but when more dogs came, Old Boo bit the wolfhound's neck in one bite. Since then, they all behave like this. Seeing the dog's reactions, I believed him. At the gate, I asked, Chen, the cat Old Boo will face is very strange. If Old Boo gets hurt, what will you do? Nonsense, Chen said angrily. Old Boo could beat a starving tiger. But what if? I asked. Then it's not your fault, Chen said. I would just find a better dog. He stopped, then shook his head. There is no better dog than Old Boo. He patted Old Boo proudly. I thought, if he had seen how the Great Dane died, he might not lend me this dog. But I didn't say it.
Old Boo truly was special. And the opponent was only a cat. I patted Old Boo's head again. Then I walked out the gate, and Old Boo followed close beside me. I opened the car door. Old Boo jumped inside immediately, sitting in the front seat. For such a slow-looking dog, its jump was incredibly fast. I felt more confident and drove toward the alley where the Great Dane had died. The alley was narrow. One side had old warehouses, and the other side had an empty lot full of junk. Cars couldn't enter, so I parked at the entrance. I got out, and Old Boo followed closely. I knew the dead dog was found at the end of the alley, so I walked inside, watching Old Boo carefully.
At first, Old Boo looked normal, but after a few steps, it suddenly crouched down. I walked forward a little, but it didn't follow, so I turned back. What I saw shocked me. Old Boo's skin, usually loose and wrinkled, was now tight and smooth. Its body looked bigger, its posture strong and frightening. For a moment, I even felt afraid. If it suddenly attacked me, I would not be able to fight it with my bare hands. I moved toward the wooden fence, ready to escape into the empty lot if necessary. But then I realized Old Boo wasn't looking at me. Its eyes were locked on the end of the alley. I followed its gaze. There were only some big crates there, nothing else. Then Old Boo began to walk forward. Slow, low steps, its belly almost touching the ground, but its movement was steady and powerful, like a lion hunting. I followed behind it. There was no one else in the alley. If someone had seen us, they would have been shocked.
Old Boo stopped about 7 or 8 yards from the crates. Then it suddenly let out a loud bark. The sound was so strong I jumped. Before I could say anything, Old Boo shot forward like a bullet. At that moment, a loud cat scream came from the crates. A large black cat rushed out. Old Boo was fast, but the black cat was faster. I couldn't see their first clash clearly, but judging from the sounds, Old Boo lost the first round. The cat flipped away and I saw a bloody wound appear on Old Boo's back, a long, deep cut from the cat's claws. Old Boo didn't react. It immediately turned and attacked again. Its jaws opened wide, almost 180 degrees. It looked like it would bite off the cat's leg. But at the last second, the cat rolled and dodged, slashing Old Boo's face, blood splashing onto the wall. Old Boo finally became angry. It lifted a paw and slammed it onto the cat, knocking it away with a horrible screech.
Even with 2 wounds, Old Boo moved faster. It pounced again. The cat rolled onto its back and clawed wildly at Old Boo's belly. Blood poured out like a fountain. But at that moment, Old Boo bit onto the cat's head. Old Boo truly was a great dog. Even with the cat tearing its stomach open, it didn't crush the cat's skull. Instead, it lifted its head and looked at me. almost asking for help. I ran forward. The cat's head was in Old Boo's mouth, but its neck was exposed. I grabbed the skin on the back of its neck and pulled hard. Old Boo released its bite, and I lifted the black cat into the air. The cat was furious. Its claws shone in the air, but it couldn't reach me. Old Boo let out a weak growl and tried to walk forward, leaving a trail of blood, before finally falling to the ground. I panicked. If Old Boo didn't receive help soon, it would die from blood loss. At that moment, I saw two people passing by the entrance of the alley. I shouted loudly for help. They heard me and ran over. Meanwhile, I kept holding the cat tightly as it struggled and screamed violently.